Well, thank you for joining us. Let's bring you this now. A group of residents in Shallcross, this in KwaZulu-Natal, have taken it upon themselves to rebuild a bridge that was washed away by the recent deadly floods. It took the community activists just a few days to complete this initiative. The eThekwini municipality has applauded the group and says it's encouraged by this act. Spokesperson of the Shallcross Residents, that's Marcus, joins us now to talk to us about, of course, this particular initiative. Marcus, thank you so much for your time and good morning to you. I think we've seen so much resilience, from the residents and community members out in KZN, particularly after these floods. And we're seeing once more with the rebuilding of this bridge. Take me through, of course, what you had to go through to see this into fruition.
Well, to put it in a nutshell, as you said about the resilience of the people on the ground in KZN, I think we basically brought out what we refer to as the indomitable spirit of the human person. And whilst the aftermath of the flood was hectic in terms of restoring water, lights, food, housing the displaced persons, we realized that the bridge was a crucial link, not only for people to get to work and get to school, it was also a supply hub for most of our businesses in the area, including supermarkets, pharmacies, clinics, small businesses, fuel, and other essentials. So having said that, whilst most of us are built in the ground as independent activists and apolitical interfaith groups, a gentleman by the name of Mr. Kadir Ghulam was very active in our area, and together with a gentleman named Vernon Kiston, came up with the idea of looking at restoring the approaches to the Pompeni River Bridge. And that's where the idea was born.
So in terms of funding, Marcus, how did you get the resources to build this bridge?
We had one main donor who wishes to remain anonymous, and then we had small contributions from members of the public, from 50 Rand up until 5,000 Rand, which helped us basically for essentials for the day, which was diesel and a few small operating costs, which consisted of payment for the excavator, TLB, roller and truck operators.
And I understand that before the bridge was actually rebuilt, community members had to make use of alternative routes. How was the access to those routes convenient for residents, or perhaps was it not? Were there any challenges with, obviously having to commute without this particular bridge?
Absolutely inconvenient. You must recall that the bridge falls under Ward 63. DA ward. The rest of Shallcross falls under Ward 71, which is the DA ward, and the other one is Ward 17, which is an ANC ward, a councillor who's never ever been to this ward in the past 6 to 7 or 8 years, including during the floods. He's not been here once. We've tried to contact him, ANC councillor, and he hasn't even pitched. So basically what was happening is the alternative routes out of Shallcross, there were certain protest deliveries at given stages, which basically meant that for 2 days prior to us starting work on the bridge, this entire area was gridlocked. People could not go to work, nor could their kids get to school, or businesses could not deliver their goods, or goods coming in. And so service deliveries at strategic points, to say that it was deliberate, no, it was service delivery protest because they had legitimate issues with water, electricity, and lack of input or disaster management personnel from the municipality on the ground. And I can confirm that. Right. I'm not casting aspersions on anybody because I'm an activist on the ground. We were assisted. Members of the Burlington Hall group that needed food, water, diapers, other essentials for the hall. And the Shallcross Community Hall, where we housed 300 displaced persons. So yes, that impact was absolutely great. And so the bridge was not only vital, it was of paramount importance.
Yeah. I mean, in as much as the act to rebuild the bridge is commendable, shows the spirit of, resilience, Ubuntu, coming together, united as residents with a common cause, we definitely could see that a lot can be achieved. But on the other hand, one can also ask, why didn't you wait for authorities? The KZN department has spoken about a budget that they're putting together to assist in rebuilding not only bridges, but a whole lot of other infrastructure that has been, destroyed by these KZN floods. Why couldn't you wait for that assistance to come from the authorities?
Well, basically, after the floods, we had no disaster management personnel on the ground in our area of Shallcross. To clear our main roads or to clear the inner suburb roads, most of the residents hired private TLBs. We had private TLBs sponsored to use them to remove all the sand, silt, and rocks from our streets so people could get out of their houses to go to shops and buy essentials and groceries for their families. Having said that, we tried to reach out to the mayor, who was a no-show at a meeting at the Shallcross Community Hall. He instead sent MEC Ravi Pillay, Member of Parliament Brandon Pillay. I'm not sure in what official capacity they were there. We engaged with them. Certain promises were made which never came to fruition in terms of assistance from social development. However, interesting enough, the Queensborough Community Hall had a representative from the Premier's office there about 3 weeks ago. For a reason we have no idea. The Premier was in the Shallcross community area on Saturday afternoon, but never came to the bridge because apparently the rumors were that we were operating in an unofficial capacity, which is totally untrue.
Right.
The meetings we set up to get this in motion in terms of formalizing the project. We, as a Shallcross community members of the Pompeni River Bridge project team, I was given a directive to engage with private consulting engineers, which we did. I then set up a meeting with the municipality via my ward councillor, Chris van den Berg. We met in an informal environment. We discussed the way forward. The municipality came in with a 5 to 10% support partnership input. The rest was borne by the community.
Right. Because this is so important, to talk about, I just wonder what advice you would give to other community members who say, we're also waiting for assistance, it's taken too long to come, we're not sure when actually this help will come, but we need to start rebuilding our lives. We may not necessarily have the funds, but we have the willpower to do something. What would your advice be, Marcus, to those frustrated, feeling stagnant at this time to get their lives back to normal?
I think I would like to quote John Donne or John Burke, if I stand to be corrected. My memory is not as it is. I'm basically mentally and physically exhausted right now. Never send me to find out for whom the bells toll, because my friends, they toll for you and they toll for me. We need to wake up, come out of our comfort zone, sense of complacency that government will come out and do what they need to do. It's not going to happen. We need to take care of ourselves. The people of South Africa need to understand one thing: their vote counts. Use your vote wisely. Vote with your head and not with your heart. The present government has failed us and failed us miserably. Not only us, I'm talking about their own supporter base. So we can only help ourselves, and the only way we can do that is by knowing who your neighbor is, knowing your community, and coming in and getting down and getting dirty. As the Americans say, boots on the ground, that's exactly what happened with us. Boots on the ground. And the 21 team members that I worked with and I have the privilege of working with and humbly represent them right now, I can assure you right now, I've never met such a wonderful bunch of guys in my life.
Well, I appreciate you, of course, speaking to us about this and instilling that spirit of resilience. Shallcross Residents spokesperson Marcus Wishes, thank you so much for your time this morning.